So we have some interesting breaking news on Havana Syndrome. The CIA now says, the CIA in a new report, it is not real. It is not, the explanation is not a hostile foreign power. This is being reported by New York Times, NBC, other outlets, that the CIA has ruled out the involvement of a hostile foreign government.
It was me actually the whole time.
You're the perpetrator.
Yes. I turned my microwave on and I point it right at wherever the bad guys are.
So a majority
good guys, but bad guys.
Good. Well, yeah. So according to the New York,
we need a breaking not news banner.
I didn't even know we have this.
Can we fit not along here?
Breaking news, nothing to see here. Go about your day, citizen. So obviously we're treating this with some skepticism because I don't have a knee-jerk kind of faith in what the CIA has to say
and
to us.
It's not lack of sympathy for the symptoms. Like, nobody disputes that people were suffering real symptoms, headaches, nausea, vertigo.
So this is 1,000 cases that the CIA looked at, and they can be explained, according to the CIA, by environmental causes, undiagnosed medical conditions, or stress, rather than a sustained global campaign by a foreign power, the CIA said.
Right. Right. They say the majority of reports, we assess the majority of reports can be reasonably explained.
Which also just means they didn't find any evidence to suggest that this is the work of, Russia or North Korea or something.
They did an Occam's razor thing where they're like, actually, so we've now, because they got the best medical care they could possibly get. Right. And as a result, it sounds like they found a lot of undiagnosed illnesses. And so they're like, oh, hey, you know how you said you had that nausea going on? Well, here's where that's from.
Right.
Treat this. And so good for these people that they were able to get this treatment as a result of that. But if they can then pinpoint it to that particular illness, then they can pretty conclusively say that this wasn't the Cubans, zapping you with their radar gun. And the thing that I kept going back to is that whenever the cops arrest, take down some drug gang, they post on Twitter a picture of all of the weapons that they caught, all the little baggies of weed, all the bricks of heroin or cocaine, the stacks of cash, and they're like, look, these are the implements of destruction that the ne'er-do-wells were found with. They have never done that with this. Like, they've never put up a picture of the device that would do this. They just say, well, it's some top secret thing that it might be Iran, North Korea, China, or Russia. It's like, well, that's not very specific.
Yeah. And
you're telling me we don't have intelligence sources good enough that we can find at least a picture?
Don't we have spies in these governments' intelligence? If it would be like, here's the picture of the device.
If we don't, what are we spending our $1 trillion a year on? But
bringing democracy to Afghanistan.
That's true. That's true. And so, yeah, I think that, and I think the CIA has come to the same conclusion. Like, we can't find we can't point to anything that did this that fits the foreign actor being bad description. But we did find that these illnesses can cause these maladies, and then it becomes what mini psycho? What would they call it? Mini formation psychosis.
Mad versus mass formation.
Yeah, but it is a thing that there's something contagious about it. Like just like psychically contagious about
social contagion.
Yeah,
social contagion's real.
Yeah.
It's real with suicides. It's with reports of suicides or depictions of suicide can cause. I mean, I looked at this with skepticism, honestly, approaching this whole topic.
Oh, right.
And I found that no, you do see, not dramatic, but there's more reporting on it. So there are reasons to not report on suicides because it does cause vulnerable people or depressed people to become more interested in it. It can cause it. It's
right.
Not universal, not across the board, but there is something to it. Social contagion.
The answer that people have had for that is whenever you do see people talk about suicide, they'll say, talk to here's the hotline.
Right.
That you can
There's
call.
some evidence this is true of gender dysphoria, which is something we're talking about a lot
too.
So you never want to rule out that yes, people think or identify with the illness or the condition, the more they learn about it, that does happen.
Right.
So yeah, I just always think if you're going to make an extraordinary claim, and these hostile foreign government has some device that is doing that, that would be an extraordinary claim. You have to concede that that would be an extraordinary claim. So then you need some kind of extraordinary evidence to overcome a natural basic evidence to overcome a natural. I feel the same way about aliens, which we talk about on the show a lot,
right.
or the Epstein,
right.
or I would feel that way about COVID origins, but we have had some evidence, right? You'd have to say, no, this came out of a lab. Well, we've gotten part of the way there, right?
Right.
We've found
now there's actual evidence.
Right. We funded this kind of research. Our health officials were very evasive about it. There are legitimate question marks there. So then you start to overcome the default that you should be skeptical of extraordinary claims. I think we're halfway there on that one. So I'm not just credulously accepting everything our authorities tell us. Our authorities lie to us about so many. They lie and they just get things wrong. They're just wrong. Reports can just be filled with errors, run by amateurs or people who have something to hide or benefit or whatever. That does happen all the time. But still, we should. They did find. They were able to diagnose some of these cases successfully. So that does mean something.
Right. And exactly. Like authorities lie all the time, but conspiracy theorists reach too far a lot of the time. But also sometimes they're onto things. In this case, it was actually the authorities who were the conspiracy theorists. And so with both conspiracy theorists and authorities were like, just give us some evidence.
Right.
And their conspiracy theory was that this was Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, Cuba, with radio waves, in the den, getting Colonel Mustard with the nausea.
Yep.
It was like, okay, give us something. Show us the candlestick. Where is the candlestick to show us that this happened? That never came together. But you're right, with the lab leak, it's like this came out of the lab. Okay, well, show us some evidence that it came out of the lab. All right, well, here's the proposal for the research that scientists say could lead to this furin cleavage site being activated in the way that we found it out here. Here are NIH scientists on a phone call saying that they think it came from the lab. Right. You're like, okay, all right,
that satisfies.
We're pretty close. Yeah. No, that is now well within the realm of something that you can talk about. Nobody can, except for the scientists maybe who did it, can know at this point 1,000%. But you can absolutely say, okay, yes, no, but Epstein, I don't want to let that slide. What do you mean on Epstein?
No, we gotta go. We gotta run. So you made it.
He was running a global child sex trafficking scheme with elites.
I mean his death. His
death. Okay.
No, I was not casting doubt on his crimes.
Was he killed
or was he murdered? Okay. The suicide, I think, I know a lot of people have questions about it. I understand why you do. I still think it was a suicide. It was just police. I think prisons are really awful places.
Prisons are awful places. There's a lot of suicide in prison. I do think reasonable people could come to the conclusion that facing what he was facing, that he decided to take his own life.
Sure.
I'm not one of those reasonable people. Sure.
But as for Havana Syndrome, as you referenced Clue, the movie Clue, it's a great movie, great line from it. Communism was just a red herring. As is the case with Havana Syndrome.
Havana Syndrome. But we're taking the CIA's word for it, which is weird.
It feels bad. Let's not say we're doing that. Our eyebrows are raised, and we're considering their report for this time.
Not just confirming our priors using the CIA.
Yes, you should too. And we'll be back with more Rising right after this.